The faint glow of Obinna's phone dimmed as he slipped it back into his pocket. His muscles tightened, a coiled spring ready to snap. His mind racing through 1,000 possibilities. They know. Get out now. Amaka's message repeated like a pulse in his veins. He had escaped the warehouse, standing a bit afar off, observing from the shadows. He thought about his mission and how important it was to the resistance. For Sorosuke to make any headway, they needed this mission to be a success. So against every instinct screaming at him that he was walking into a trap, quietly, like a lion stalking his prey, he crouched and went back into the warehouse. The warehouse felt different now, more alive, more dangerous. The silence wasn't the comforting cover of darkness, it was the breath of a storm. He glanced back toward the decks. Commander Ikemba still sat there, unmoving, bathed in the soft flickering light of the deck's lamp. The man seemed frozen in time, his fingers poised just above the keyboard, the shadows playing across his face, sculpting his features into something predatory. And then, slowly, deliberately, Ikemba spoke.
So, Agu, is it?
The words slid from his mouth like the hiss of a snake, soft yet filled with venom. He didn't look up. He didn't have to. Obinna's breath caught in his throat. His fingers twitched toward the pistol beneath his jacket. But he didn't draw it. Not yet. His eyes scanned the warehouse, searching for movements in the corners, the shadows, anything that didn't belong. But everything felt wrong. The tension was almost unbearable now, like a string pulled so tight it was about to snap.
I was beginning to think you wouldn't come.
Ikemba continued, his voice as smooth as oil. He lifted his head, his eyes finally meeting Obinna's, the glow from the lamp casting dark shadows over the deep lines of his face. There was no fear there, only confidence. Ikemba knew he was in control. Obinna remained still, his mind racing, calculating. They had set the trap, but how deep did it go? Where were the others hiding in the darkness, waiting to strike? Was he already surrounded?
I don't know what you are talking about,
Obinna said, his voice low, careful. He kept his posture relaxed, though his muscles were coiled tight, ready to move. His fingers twitched at the ready. Ikemba let out a small, humorless chuckle, finally pushing himself to his feet. The scrape of the metal chair legs echoed loudly in the vast emptiness of the warehouse.
I admire your calm, Agu. But let's not insult each other's intelligence.
You walked into my trap, and now you walk out with nothing. Obinna's jaw clenched. Every second felt like an eternity as Ikemba stepped forward, his hand resting casually on the grip of the pistol holstered at his side. You are outnumbered, Agu. You can't win. But if you surrender, I might make this painless. The words barely reached Obinna before the crack of gunfire split the air. Obinna dove behind the stack of crates, his body moving on instinct before his mind could register. Splinters exploded from the wood, raining down sharp, jagged pieces. The sharp smell of gunpowder filled the air, thick and suffocating. More bullets followed, the sound tearing through the warehouse in quick succession, each shot deafening in the enclosed space. Obinna's heart hammered in his chest. As he crouched beneath the crates, adrenaline coursing through his veins, his eyes flickered toward the door, their only way out. But it was too far. They had cut off his escape. There was a shift in the air, movement in the shadows. Two more figures emerged from the darkness, guns drawn, their face obscured by the low light. They moved quickly, efficiently, like wolves closing in on their prey. One took position behind a steel pillar, his rifle trained on Obinna's hiding spot. The other advanced from the left, circling wide, cutting off any path of retreat. Obinna wiped sweat from his brow, his mind racing. He couldn't stay pinned here. He couldn't let them take him. There was too much at stake. His fingers gripped his pistol tight, feeling the cold metal press against his palm. He inhaled, slow and steady, forcing his mind to sharpen. Then, without warning, he lunged from behind the crates, his body low, his movements quick and precise. 2 shots fired clean, deliberate. One of the gunmen staggered back, a bloom of red staining his chest as he fell to the ground. The other cursed beneath his breath, ducking behind the pillar, his rifle barking in response. Bullets ricocheted off the concrete floor, spraying sparks in the air as Obinna rolled, narrowly avoiding the deadly line of fire. Ikemba's voice cut through the chaos, his tone sharp and filled with frustration. "Damn it! Take him alive! We need him breathing!" Obinna's teeth clenched. Alive? They needed him for something. For answers, maybe. Or worse. He wasn't about to let that happen. With one quick motion, he holstered his pistol and sprinted toward Ikemba. The commander's eyes widened, caught off guard by Obinna's sudden burst of speed. He reached for his gun, but before he could react, Obinna was on him. Obinna's fist connected with Ikemba's jaw, the sound of bone striking bone reverberating through the air. Ikemba stumbled backward, but he recovered quickly, drawing a blade from his belt, its edge glinting in the dim light. They circled each other, their eyes locked, the tension between them crackling like static. Ikemba lunged first, the blade slashing through the air with deadly precision. Obinna sidestepped, narrowly avoiding the strike. As Agu circled Ikemba, his mind sharpened, instincts kicking in. But as he sidestepped another wild swing, his foot slipped against the oil-slick floor of the warehouse. Threw him off balance. Ikemba seized the opportunity, latching out with the knife he'd drawn from his belt. The blade grazed Obinna's side, cutting through his jacket and slicing a shallow wound just below his ribs. Agu gritted his teeth, ignoring the sting of pain, refusing to let Ikemba see any sign of weakness. Blood started to trickle down his side, soaking into the fabric, but he pushed the discomfort aside, focusing entirely on the fight. Ikemba lunged again, thinking he had Agu beaten, but Agu grabbed Ikemba's wrist in a firm grip. With a sharp twist, he disarmed him, the knife clattering to the floor. Ikemba's growl was low and guttural as Obinna drove his knee into the commander's stomach, sending him sprawling to the ground. He stood over him, his breath coming in ragged bursts, adrenaline still surging through his body. You think this will change anything? Ikemba sparked, his voice laced with pain. His eyes gleamed with a twisted satisfaction. You are late. Too late. Too late, Agu. Operation Chokehold is already in motion. And when it's over, there won't be a city left to save. Obinna's grip tightened on Ikemba's collar, lifting him off the ground. Tell me what you know. Now. He growled, his voice dangerously low. But Ikemba only laughed, blood dripping from the corner of his mouth. You can't stop us. There's no one you can trust, even inside Sorosoke. Obinna's stomach twisted at the words. A mole? Could they have infiltrated the resistance? The sound of sirens in the distance snapped him out of his thoughts. He couldn't linger. More soldiers would be here any second. Without another word, Obinna slammed Ikemba against the ground, knocking him unconscious. He reached for the USB drive, his fingers crawling around the cold metal device. Quickly, he inserted the USB drive into the laptop Ikemba had been using, and the preset automation in the USB drive activated with a slight hum. Valuable confidential clandestine files copied into the USB drive, and he quickly retrieved it, unplugging it from the laptop. The mission wasn't a total loss, but his mind swelled with questions as he disappeared into the night. Yo, wagwan, waiting the sub alpha, how you dey? Thank you for listening to episode 2, Shadows of Freedom. To follow the stories of Obinna, Agu, and his fight for freedom, just follow me and we give you story. Subscribe below. Thank you.